Before the BI, basically I was just serving in my local church, part-time jobs, full-time jobs, whatever I could get. Basically whatever I could do to make enough money to pay my way for bike racing. I rode a lot of hill climbs in the Northeast area. I went out to Colorado a few times and rode up Pikes Peak and Mount Evans. I've been, at 11,000 feet in Colorado being passed by world champion mountain bikers. And you get on a quiet mountain or something like that and you're riding uphill late in the day. It's just so peaceful and quiet. It's an amazing time to pray and to connect with God. And June 30th, I was working full time at my job. So it'd been like 8 days when I'd worked in a row. I had my first day off. I was so excited to finally get out and ride for enjoyment, not just, to maintain fitness. So I went out, I went up over some big hills and went down into town and came back over the hills, and I decided it's such a beautiful day, I think I'm gonna go over again. So I went over the hill again, and on my way down into town on the other side of the hill, I started, coming down the hill and I saw a car. There was plenty of room for me to get by the car. There was no question about that. I didn't understand how it happened at the time, but all of a sudden the car was just right in front of me. I kind of had my wits about me, and I remember looking down at the speedometer. I looked down, I was going 32.4, so I slammed into the car and I ricocheted back. I didn't understand it at the time, but I had broken 6 or 8 ribs, punctured a lung. I guess I basically thrashed the aorta in place. It spun the T6 vertebrae around in place with bone fragments up and down the spinal cord. I think I broke both shoulder blades. In those moments, I realized that this could be it for me. I might die at any moment. And, I think you can get really frank with God pretty quickly when you might see him any second. I was okay with it. Whatever God has in store for me, I'm okay with. In those moments when I realized that my life was really never going to be the same again, I was honestly really excited. Not that my life would be different, but that I could tell that God was doing something in my life. I was reflecting on so many verses that I had studied at the Bible Institute, thinking of James, consider it all joy when you encounter various trials. And I thought, well, I can consider this joy, but I'm like, this isn't really much of a trial. This isn't, the most trying thing I've ever gone through, But then I realized it says various, so I'm like, maybe I can count this as a trial, let's go with that. I realized I was completely in his hands, and, as I laid there in the hospital, God and his word was really all I had. But I think in those moments, especially at the scene of the accident, I have never felt closer to God than I did in those moments. And I would not trade that for anything. As amazing as that felt in those very, imperfect circumstances, I can't imagine what heaven will be like in perfect circumstances. It definitely gave me a brand new perspective on life, for sure.
Every road is long that we travel on, and we don't know where they might lead, but we keep the faith and we live each day till we finally find our way.
I've seen through my life that God absolutely can do all things. And it makes me so excited to see what he may have in store for the future, because I do believe that all things are possible with him.